Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that, folks. We had technical difficulties. So, I've just decided I'm gonna rename this the Easter news stream, I guess, because, might as well, why not? I'm gonna delete the other stream from earlier. I'll get rid of that one. So, let me just get rid of the first one from today, of course. Because now I'm gonna be able to cover you whatever we need to cover. That's the main thing. So, let me just get rid of the first stream. Ooh, boy. Yep, that's the problem. I'm not going to be able to delete that one for a while. That stinks. Okay. So, I just want to make sure that I'm going to get this out to everybody. So, just hang on. We'll be coming on here in just a second. I've already sent the tweet. Okay, good. See, I love when Twitter tells me I've already sent out the same tweet. You know, Drew Story, Rock and Robin quickly mention that, I guess that's the inspiration for Twitter. Maybe it's that song. But in all reality, folks, our country is just going through difficult times right now, and my job is to give you the news. And I'm going to be taking you to Governor Cuomo's briefing. I figured many people were reaching out to me saying, why weren't you streaming that originally? So I think I do have a tape available from the governor today. So, of course, I understand what the circumstances. My New York viewers do want to watch that. So, I'll give them what they want. I will do it shortly. So, I was just checking briefly that all the Shreveport, Louisiana affiliates have in fact left the air. I guess because the risk of tornadoes is starting to go down, but I'll double check because I was able to get an feed of the. Okay, are we able to get the feed right now or no? Of Governor Cuomo. I'm trying to see right now. Looks like I'm gonna be able to. Okay, here we go. Trying to see if I can get it.
Was open. So
yeah, because he's doing the Q&A right now, and I was multitasking, keeping an eye on him, and then doing that. And I also mentioned I just uploaded a video before 11 o'clock talking about the Zoom controversy. So, mention if anybody's in the comments. So, okay, yeah, we're gonna go back. We're gonna go back to Cuomo, and we will watch Andrew Cuomo's press briefing from today. So let me put the display capture on. Okay, there we go.
good morning. Good to see you again. Some of you for the second time today. Happy Easter for all those celebrating. Happy Passover. Happy Holy Week. To my right, we have Dr. Jim Malatras. To my left, Melissa DeRosa, Robert Mahica, Budget Director. Thank you all for taking time. Let's go through where we are today on this beautiful day. Let's start with the good news, because we deserve some good news, Lord knows. Change in total number of hospitalizations is down again. This is the number that we have been watching because the great fear for us was always overwhelming the hospital system, the capacity of the hospital system. And we've added capacity, we've moved equipment around, but the great fear was always overwhelming just the raw capacity of the hospital system, the number of beds. So the number of additional net beds was always important to track, and that's what we see here. The net beds is down to 53, which is the lowest number since we started doing these charts. So that is a good number. 3-day average, which is a little more accurate than the day-to-day, which tends to fluctuate, is also down, as you see. Total hospitalizations, 18,700. But you see the 18, 18, 18, 18. That's the so-called flattening of the curve. The apex isn't just an apex, it's a plateau. You see that line flattening, and that's what the experts were talking about, that it might have been a straight up and then rapid down, or it might be up to an apex and the apex becomes a plateau. That's what these numbers suggest. Change in ICU admissions ticked up. Again, the ICU admissions is a little questionable now because almost all the beds in a hospital have turned into an ICU bed. So how hospitals classify ICU admissions is a little dubious to me, but that's my personal 2 cents. 3-day average on ICU admissions, the same thing. Tick up in the intubations, which is not good news, but you see yesterday was great news. That may have been a blip in the overall. The intubations are very relevant because people come into the hospital, they get treated, hopefully they get discharged. If they don't get discharged, they stay in the hospital, they decline, they become intubated. If they become intubated, the longer you're on a ventilator, the less likely you will be to get off that ventilator. So that's the trajectory we see, right? And the intubations, most people who are intubated will not come off the ventilator. So that's a troubling number, the intubation number, which is real. But the 3-day intubation rate, again, is down relative to where we were. So all the numbers are basically saying the same thing. Number of discharges goes up because we had that high hospitalization rate. People stay for a week, 2 weeks, they get discharged. That's why the discharges are a function of the hospitalization rate. 3-day average of the discharges, you see, again, basically flat. So it's all reinforcing the same thing, a flattening of all these numbers. You're not seeing a great decline in the numbers, but you're seeing a flattening. And you're also seeing a recurrence of the terrible news, which is the number of lives lost, which is 758. Somebody asked the question once, can you ever get numb to seeing these numbers? Unfortunately, no. 758 people lost their lives in a 24-hour period. I speak to many families who are going through this, many people who lost loved ones. Everyone is a face and a name and a family that is suffering on this weekend, which for many people in this state and in this nation is a high religious holiday, which is already distorted because we have churches closed, we have temples closed. So this is truly tragic news, and I want every family to know that they're in our thoughts and prayers, and we're sorry that they had to go through this, and I want them to know that New Yorkers did everything humanly possible to be there for their loved ones and try to save those lives. And we're proud of that. You see also a flattening in the number of lives lost at a terribly high rate. But if you look back over the past several days, You see there's a certain continuity to that number. Again, that's the one number that I look forward to seeing drop as soon as I open my eyes in the morning. And it has been flattening, but flattening at a terribly high level. Again, to put it in context, 9,385 lives lost when you add those from yesterday. Put in the context of 9/11, which was supposed to be the tragedy of my lifetime, 2,753 lives lost. We're now at 9,385. Big question for everyone is, when do we reopen? People want to get on with their lives. People want to get out of the house. Cabin fever. We need the economy working. People need a paycheck. Life has to function. When do we reopen? When do we reopen? Look, the answer is we want to reopen as soon as possible. Everyone does on a societal level. Everyone does on a personal level. Let's just end this nightmare, right? Groundhog Day, you get up every day. It's the same routine. You almost lose track of what day of the week it is because they don't even have meaning anymore. And there's all sorts of anxiety and stress that we're all dealing with. So we want to reopen as soon as possible. The caveat is we need to be smart in the way we reopen. What does SMART mean? It means a coordinated approach, a regional approach, and a safe approach. Nobody wants to pick between a public health strategy and an economic strategy. As governor of the state, I'm not going to pick one over the other. We need a public health strategy that is safe, that is consistent with an economic strategy. How do you reopen, but how do you do it in a way that is smart from a public health point of view? The last thing we want to see is an uptick in that infection rate and an uptick in those numbers that we work so hard to bring down. So we need a strategy that coordinates business and schools and transportation and workforce. What New York Pause did is it stopped everything at the same time. It was a blunt device, but it shut down everything at the same time. We're going to need testing, more testing, faster testing than we now have when you start to move people back to work. And we're going to need federal help. There is no doubt about that. I did a joint statement with Governor Hogan, who is the chairman of the National Governors Association. He is a Republican. I am the vice chair. I'm a Democrat, for those of you who don't know. And we did a joint statement that said, look, the federal government did a stimulus bill, a bill that was supposed to help move the economy along, called the Federal CARES Act. The Federal CARES Act just almost ignored state governments. When you ignore a state government, you ignore our situation. We have a $10 to $15 billion deficit. We got a budget done, but our budget was basically contingent on what happens going forward. And without federal assistance, how does this state economy come back? How do we really start to fund schools, et cetera? And that's going to happen. That has to happen from a federal level. There is no level above a state government that can make a difference besides the federal government. And we did a statement on a bipartisan basis that said the federal government has to fix this in the next bill. And we called for $500 billion for funding for state governments. And again, we did that on a bipartisan basis. From New York's point of view, the past bills were like most federal past bills. They went through the political process. And to get a bill passed in Washington, everyone has to get their piece of the pie to pass a bill. I understand politics. I understand it very well. That's not how they should be operating here. And you did an injustice to the places that actually had the need, which, from an American taxpayer point of view, that's what you were trying to correct. You were trying to correct the devastation of the virus. Well, then correct the devastation of the virus. Not everything has to be an opportunity for pork barrel, right? You look at where the money actually went. Theoretically, the bill distributed funding to states for corrective action and expenses on handling the virus. Kaiser Health, which is a very notable organization, said that Nebraska, Montana, for example, Minnesota, are getting approximately $300,000 per COVID-19 case. New York State gets approximately $12,000. How can that be? It can be because in the Senate, it became a game of political pork, and I want my share as opposed to where is the need genuinely. And New York is vital to this American economy. It's not just about New York. Our economy is vital to this country. You want New York's economy up and running, not just for the good of New York, but for the good of the nation. So that was the purpose of the legislation. It missed the mark. I hope they do it next time. A simple, easy way to help New York is right the wrong that the federal government did when it passed the SALT tax, state and local tax deductibility. That was just a political maneuver in the first place. You're trying to help places that are suffering from the virus? Repeal the SALT tax, which should have never been done, as I said, in the first place. We're going to work with our neighboring states because this is the tri-state area. It's a regional economy. I'm going to be speaking with Governor Murphy and Governor Lamont later today on coming up with a reopening plan that is a public health plan, safeguards public health, but also starts to move us towards economic activation. We'll also do an executive order today which directs employers to provide essential workers with a cloth or surgical face mask to their employees when they are interacting with the public. And they should provide those masks cost-free. New Jersey did a similar order, and I think Governor Murphy was right, and I want to do that here in the state of New York. We have to also expand testing. One of the ways we want to do that is by executive order, we're going to expand the number of people who are eligible to do the antibody test. We have state regulations that say who can actually do the antibody test. There are two tests. One is the diagnostic test. One is the antibody test. The antibody test tells you if the person had the virus and got over the virus. That would be a prime person who could go back to work because they theoretically have an immunity to the virus for a period of time. They're not sure what the period of time is. There aren't a tremendously large number of people with the antibodies, which is good news because we kept down the infection rate. But that is an important test, and we have to get that test to scale, and this executive order will help do that. Happy Easter for all those who are celebrating. Happy spring for those who aren't celebrating. Spring is my favorite season. What spring says to all of us is it's a time of rebirth. That no matter how cold the winter, no matter how barren the landscape got, the earth comes back to life. And it was flat, and it was barren, and it was closed down, and then it comes back to life. And for me, this spring especially, we have been closed down. We have locked the doors. We've isolated. We've hunkered down. We've closed down in a way we've never closed down before. We want to talk about a cold winter where the earth becomes barren. This has been a cold period from a societal point of view. And we've closed down in a way we've never closed down. But we will come back to life, and we will have a rebirth. And that's what spring is all about. And the rebirth is primarily about our people and about our spirit. They say the spirit lives. There have been a couple of moments through this that will stay with me for all time. And a couple of moments that were really dark periods. Looking at that number of deaths is a dark period. The phone calls with families are dark periods. The fear of the worst case scenario of those numbers going through the roof and overwhelming the hospital capacity was a dark period. Fears of seeing what happened in Italy and how their healthcare system got overwhelmed and it could happen here. That was dark. A number of conversations I had with people who lost their father, their spouse, their brother, their sister out of the blue. But there's also been some moments that just were so inspirational to me, that just showed such a positive spirit. You know, it's when things are at their worst is when you will see the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? When people are under pressure, you see like their true essence will come out. And some people will break your heart. People who you expected to react differently will just break your heart and disappoint you. But then other people who you expected nothing from will show you a strength and a resilience that just is an inspiration. We were going through a period where we were afraid of the hospital capacity peaking, and we needed equipment, and we were focused on ventilators. Because ventilators for this disease, it's a respiratory disease, you need ventilators. Nobody ever anticipated this kind of situation, so we're in a mad rush for ventilators, and we're shifting ventilators all over the state. And I'm asking hospitals to cooperate with each other and lend each other equipment, including ventilators. And some hospitals were great, and some hospitals were less great, which you expect. But then out of the blue, a phone call came where a nursing home in upstate New York said, we understand downstate may need ventilators. We want to let them borrow 35 ventilators. Unsolicited. They just called and offered the 35 ventilators. And we went and we picked up the ventilators and we brought them downstate. But I remember when they came in and they told me, a nursing home in upstate, a nursing home is one of the most vulnerable places in this entire situation, right? Elderly populations and in a confined area of a nursing home. And here a nursing home comes forward and says, we want to lend you 35 ventilators to bring downstate. I tell you, for me, when I heard that news, with all this bad, with all this negative, something inside me said, you know what, we're going to be okay. We're going to find our way through this, because there is an inherent goodness in people that will surprise you, and they will rise to the occasion. And at the end of the day, good will win against bad. I believe that. And love will conquer all. So we brought the 35 ventilators back to Pathways, which is a nursing and rehabilitation center. I went by there this morning when they were returning the 35 ventilators, just to say thank you. Thank you on behalf of all the people of the state. Thank you for their generosity. Thank you on behalf of downstate New York. We're in a position now where we're not going to need the ventilators. We're going to be okay equipment-wise, unless things change dramatically. But thank you on behalf of the people of the state, as governor of the state of New York. And thank you for myself, because the people from Pathways who are watching this broadcast, I couldn't go inside. So I didn't really get a chance to talk to them, but I wanted to say thank you for me, from me because they brought me inspiration and hope and energy at a time when I personally really needed it. And that call and that generosity and that love buoyed my spirit and my feelings and was such a lift for me. And I remember I went and I talked to the team and I said, can you believe how beautiful a gesture this is? So I wanted to say thank you. As governor, and for me, myself, and I, Andrew Cuomo, thank you to the people of Pathways. Questions?
All right, so once again, you just heard from New York Governor Andrew Cuomo. Once again, good news, bad news scenario. Good news is curve is flattening, less hospitalization. Bad news is the ICUs are going up. Now, I actually have some good news to report from the United Kingdom, and this is actually per Boris Johnson himself. He has tweeted out a 5-minute video on Twitter. I'm not going to play it, of course, because, I don't see any point. But the good news is Boris Johnson has been medically cleared to leave the hospital he was getting treatment at in London. That is very good news that Boris is okay. Obviously, I was concerned about his well-being because, of course, he's actual personal friends with former New York City Transit President Andy Byford, of course. So that's why I was being restless about that situation. The other restless situation I have been thinking about, of course, recently with the Queens Village Bus Depot. Sadly, we lost somebody at the depot last week. I'll give you the name right now. Queens Village Bus Depot lost, making sure I got the name right, Lionel Hogan. Andy's Randomness extends its condolences to Lionel Hogan's friends and family and his fellow colleagues at Queens Village Bus Depot, of course, and more importantly, all the condolences go to ATU 1056 Union. So, just a sad situation with Queens Village, of course. The list, unfortunately, and this is the sad reality, keeps updating. We're also losing school bus drivers as well, who are affiliated with Local 100 as well, who possibly could be affiliated with ATU Local 1056. I'm just double checking the list here, and again, thankfully I haven't heard anybody from the Casey Stengel Depot passing, which would be very unfortunate in these circumstances. And I'll get into the MTA situation more next week. I don't think I want to discuss that today. Under the circumstances, because I feel that the time and the place for that is when I speak to Andrew Albert next Thursday, of course. So, I will be getting everything out. And, I'll go on the record and say, and this is how I feel about Judy Mason's recent behavior recently, is that, I'm going to be respectful this time, Judy. If Lisa's going to unmute my mic, or Andrew's going to unmute my mic, then I will discuss Andrew's report if he brings up the situation at what happened at Central Park 110th Street, which that now will be a candidate for a future summit once production is allowed again, when I'm allowed to do all the non-essential things. I have to wait for clearance from New York State for filming to resume at subway stations and at train stations. So until the stay-at-home order gets lifted, I can't do summits until further notice. So that's completely out of the question. Obviously, and again, I have discussed this with many people, is that, I'm hoping the first intention would be when I can resume normal productions for this YouTube channel, that I was going to do New Hyde Park. Because, again, I still had people before the pandemic reaching out to me saying I should go to check the situation at New Hyde Park. And, all I'm hoping is that the earliest I'm going to get a committee book regarding the June track work, there's a possibility that maybe they'll give me an answer about June this month, but I highly doubt the Long Island Railroad's going to tell me anything. I'll just quickly mention that. And that's where we get into the economy reopening. I mean, what's going to happen if or when the economy will reopen? To be honest, the first thing I want to actually see reopen is my barbershop. Because look at me, I need a haircut. Look at me, I need a haircut. I desperately need a haircut. So, I'm hoping the governor's going to do the right thing here in New York. Governor Cuomo, that is. And he'll reopen the barbershops at least, because my barbershop is not far from where I live. It's directly in Bayside. So I just go in my dad's car. I'm there in 10 minutes. Because he's on Bell Boulevard. So I go there, boom. All set. Not far from my house. And as far as when I don't even know when the nursing home is going to be reopened. I mean, that's another thing I'd like to see reopened too. If I were to, pick and choose like what I think should reopen, would be my nursing home, Oslam, of course. I like to see that reopen as soon as it can, under the circumstances that Cuomo says, look, we'll reopen it. And then what we'll do is, we'll deem, can we get all the employees, all the volunteers, all the visitors to get checked? I heard something outside. So anyhow, my point is they have to test people who are going into a nursing home. Cuomo said that yesterday. It takes 20 minutes to get a test, something like that. And they deem you cleared to go into the building. You can work. You can volunteer. Or you're visiting a relative, immediate family who is in a nursing home facility. Or they're going to tell you, you have a temperature. Go home. Come back in a certain time frame. Maybe it'll still be the 2 weeks. And, right now, that's how things could end up. And then the other thing that could reopen... Hang on for a second, folks. I'll be right back. Sorry about that, folks. There's a loud dog barking in my area. You know, people don't want to hear that right now. You know, we're going through a lot. Jeez. But let me just get back on my chair, I guess. Camera down. There we go. Okay. Right. Restaurants. Are they going to let a certain amount of people into the restaurant to dine in? I would think maybe. But I don't know how that's going to work out. So being realistic, I'm most likely assuming that the courts are going to have to reopen. See, if you do the restaurants, then you're pushing it. You know, if you still want to do takeout delivery and maybe go eat it somewhere else outside, okay, fine. I've done takeout at my bagel place in Kew Gardens. That's how they prefer to do their business anyway. By the Kew Gardens Union Turnpike train station. Many of you know I'm a patron at Bialy and Bagel on Queens Boulevard. Many of you know that most cases I will go to the 99-cent store, or I'm there across the street at CVS getting something. Because that area is just convenient. I just go across the street and then I'm at CVS. Or if I need Dunkin' Donuts, boom, it's right there. Because much easier in most cases. But the courts are going to have to reopen. Overall, they're going to have to. And I'm hoping that today, and I've been hearing that even the feds are going to get involved because Trump obviously keeps claiming he wants an economic task force of, I guess, Dr. Fauci, Dr. Birx, maybe the Surgeon General gets involved. I would assume that Mike Pence would be on that too. And then maybe you could see Larry Kudlow involved in that because Larry Kudlow was part of the Trump administration, of course. He's the economic guy. So, Larry Kudlow is the director of the United States National Economic Council. So pretty much he would have to be on that task force. And he was back in the 1980s. Kudlow was the associate director of the economics and planning for the Office of Management and Budget. Now this is interesting. 2005, Governor Pataki here in New York included Kudlow in a 6-member state tax commission. There you have it. Okay. Let's check the comments. You can even get them back on here. I don't even know if I'm live right now. That's the problem. Let me check. I don't even know if I'm live right now. Alright, I am, but here's my problem. I don't know where I am. Let me see if I can get back to here. Okay. Looks like I am here. See, this is the oddest thing. I'm just randomly looking to see if I can go back to the YouTube live thing. Let's see. I'm just checking to see where I am. Oh, perfect. I can go back to here. Well, Droid Jung, here's the question that I'm left wondering. Here's what I'm still left wondering. If Governor Cuomo is going to be talking to Ed Lamont in Connecticut, and he's going to be talking to Phil Murphy in New Jersey. Ooh, this is the perfect time to play my New Jersey soundbite.
New Jersey.
It's perfect. Then you have a possibility. And again, this is just my theory. I've been theorizing this since Friday. I've even told my friends this, and they even think this is a realistic goal. That the earliest we could have the economy reopen would be on June 8th. Now, our Broadway theaters in Manhattan still going to reopen on that date. And then Murphy's Law in
New Jersey
comes into a factor when it comes to those parks. And I'm actually going to play the soundbite from New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Yes, I'm not supposed to have that offline. I'll get it. Not a big file, so I'm going to play the special file I had. Here we go.
Sorry, folks, park's closed. The moose out front should have told you.
I am signing an order to close all state and county parks in the state of New Jersey.
Now you listen to me, fat ass. You do what I say and there won't be any problem, okay? Okay. The moose says you're closed. I say you're open.
New Jersey.
I love it. I love it. But in reality, if they all are going to be tri-state, reopen the economy, it makes sense because think about it. Then you have to get the commuter rails involved. There's New Jersey Transit, there's Metro North, and then there's the Long Island Railroad. So all the economies have to reopen. And then I'm wondering about Cuomo here. Because with Cuomo, he's going to have to extend the stay-at-home order. And if I were the governor, right now, I would at least extend the stay-at-home order. Worst case scenario, the stay-at-home order should be extended till at least May 13th. I'm assuming that will be when he will extend the stay-at-home order until. And then, worst case scenario, you could see the governor extended until May 27th. Worst case scenario, you could see it go till June 10th, maybe. Maybe. I'm not saying it's going to happen. But you have to think long term here. That's a sigh of relief. My dad's actually going shopping today. We actually convinced him to go shopping because we think that there's a possibility that the stores are going to close. And I tried doing the Peapod. If you go on Peapod at 1 o'clock in the morning, you actually do get a slot. So be online at 1 a.m. Because the next Peapod they may have is Sunday or Monday on the 26th or 27th. So thank goodness I got a spot. Thank goodness. Because it's a big sigh of relief, let me tell you. Woo. Woo, 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 woo. But, my point is, that's how I think things could end up. It's worst case scenario that we're locked down until June. And I'm telling you right now, I really hope I'm not locked in this house until for the whole summer. Please. Please. Alright? I really wanted to do Hudson Yards this summer for you guys. That was like my number one goal for a summit this summer. Because I was going to do the 7 Station. I was gonna go on the vessel, and I got familiar with the mall thanks to my parents. So, I actually know there's another restroom in the Hudson Yards Mall that's not upstairs. There's one inside of a dining concourse somewhere in the basement, I think. I know how to get to it because I remembered back in January I was there with my parents. So, the only negative thing is I'm going to have to get food from somewhere else later on in the day. No, worst case scenario, I could always go back to Queens and go to KFC. Just eat in Queens Center Mall, I guess. That's another thing. I mean, Queens Center Mall, I hope that reopens eventually too, because my colleagues from OSNM actually sometimes go to Elmhurst. And I was going to ask them if they wanted to grab KFC with me one time. But that's a whole different story. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is, I'm just going to double check to see if I can get the Weather Channel on my computer. If I'm in incognito mode, this is not good. Hope I'm not in incognito mode. So here's something stupid. Comcast is in Philadelphia. That explains why they claim it's Comcast country. You see, I would be happy if Spectrum was in Delmarva. See, if they were in Delmarva, I'd be happy with that, because then I can get Boomerang. And I don't have to pay for an out-of-market package. But I will mention this. AT&T now, if I am correct, I know I got this the other day. I believe if I am correct, they have TNIC now. If you do the Plus package. I'll look it up. That's a good question. By the way, I just posted a video about, I'd say almost an hour ago. I did a rant about, what was it? Right. I did a rant about Zoom. Because I worked on it last night. And it's interesting. All I'm going to say, I don't want to repeat what I said in the video, because then it won't be worth it. Jesus. I mean, I have to sign in again? I mean, this is so annoying. You know what it is? Because I have a thing on my Hulu account now. I have my Delmarva affiliates locked in permanently. So, that's important to me. Oh no, the News 12 Long Island sent me a thing. So I kept asking them to reset my password, but I remembered my password for an odd thing. Just checking my dad's Comcast email. In fact, I have to check my emails because I'm antsy. Okay, I'm not even going to get into that. You know what? Just easier to stream on the phone. The Xfinity app is much easier to use on the phone. I hate to say it, but it is much easier. So, I'm just checking to see what they've added. See all channels. So I'm just checking for fun. Yeah, they have Nicktoons, I know that. I know they have Boomerang on the Plus thing for AT&T now, which that's why I got it. So I'm not even going to log in. So I'm just checking the Weather Channel on my phone. Looks like they are...
Averaging straight line winds all throughout the nighttime and into the morning hours. Not missing, I might add, the Carolinas as well during the morning hours. Right now, I'm going to send it over to Mike Seidel, who is right now outside of Jackson, Mississippi this afternoon. Mike, tell us how the conditions are right now.
Hey, good afternoon from Flowood, Mississippi. We're about 10 miles northeast of Jackson, and we're keeping an eye on the southwest skies because that's where all the storms are going to be coming from this afternoon and this evening. And these storms are racing northeast at about 50 to 60 miles.
Okay, so looks like right now they are talking about Jackson, Mississippi. From what I'm making out right now from the Weather Channel feed, because I know this for a fact that since we have Comcast in Delmarva, and I guess this is the positive thing, I am able to watch the Weather Channel feed on my phone. So that's pretty good on that regard. So I'm just going to check to see if KTBS is still streaming. Because again, I could understand why they left the air. Because again, it is Easter Sunday. People do want to watch their Easter services. I completely get it. You know, they have a weather feed. You can watch it online. I get it. It's not mad to get about. But still, you know, you had tornadoes in Shreveport, Louisiana today. And, you know, that is just alarming that we're seeing all this severe weather today for this time of the year. Okay, are they still alive right now? Because I'm willing to carry them until I hear from my elected officials in New York, because I know de Blasio spoke today, but I don't want to hear him. I'd rather hear from the Nassau officials today. So, Jackson, Mississippi is expected to see severe weather. Parts of Alabama, potentially Birmingham, could see severe weather today. Once again, our main focus is Shreveport, Louisiana right now. So I'm trying to see if I can get them on. Looks like we are having an issue with the KTBS feed right now. Looks like they're not live. Trying to see if I can maybe get their 24-hour news feed. Looks like I'm not going to be able to. Unless, do I need to get rid of the ad block? That could be it. That could be it. I just have a theory that could be my reason why I'm having that issue today. Okay, that's not what we want. No. Am I able to get them back on the air? Okay, I think what I'll have to do is I'll mute this and I'll just do a quick narration, I guess, of the feed. But I did find something. That's a big sigh of relief. Okay. Let's see if I can just put my display capture on. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick narration. I'll put my mouse toggle on so you all can get an idea of what I'm... Actually, nah, I can't, because then if I do window capture, then it won't... No, let's try window capture. Can we try window capture? Oh, okay. We just lost their feed. Yeah, so honestly right now, I'm not seeing anything. I'll check to see if the ABC affiliate in Jackson, Mississippi is doing something. ABC station. Just for curiosity purposes. Because I know I have a way to get out-of-market affiliates. Yeah, they don't have anything at the moment. So, worst comes to worst, I can always restart this stream. You know, I can always come back if something does happen. either COVID related or anything related to the weather, I guess, today. So, yeah, I think with that, I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm gonna hit the road, Jack. That's what they always say, it seems. So, I just gotta go back now to, okay, what happened? I lost my YouTube thing again. Yep, that's the problem. I don't know what got into me today to just close out of it. But I am going to have to close out of the YouTube studio. So, hang on. Matt Camper just sent me a voicemail. Let me see if I'm going to... Let's see what it's about. I'm on LTE right now, so it should work.
Update in regards to the severe weather for tomorrow. Storm Prediction Center website. Right now, we have an enhanced risk for severe weather for Richmond, Virginia. Slight risk for severe weather for all Delmarva. Also parts of New Jersey. Including all of southern New Jersey. Possibly even maybe Ocean County, and parts of northwestern New Jersey, and for New York City, Long Island, and the parts of central and northern New Jersey. We're under a marginal risk for severe weather for tomorrow, according to the National Weather Service Storm Prediction Center.
National Weather Service Storm Prediction Center. Okay. Let's see if we can look that up very quickly. Weather Service Storm Prediction Center. They have to have a website. Okay, they do. So I'll put it up on the screen as soon as I can. But thanks to Matt Camper for that information, because thank goodness I got that on the air to you all just now. Okay. I'm trying to see. Do you have a map? I'm going to ask Matt if he has a source, but I'm on the website right now, and I honestly don't see anything. In fact, my computer's actually frozen right now. Oh, there we go. Okay. Let's see if it's on Twitter. Okay, Matt's going to give me back.
I'll send you the link right now from the Storm Prediction Center website.
Okay, folks, good news. We actually have something. Good. Good. I might have found something on Twitter. Let's see. Let's see if we found something. Okay, there we go. We got a link from Matt. Okay, so it's just easier to open the Messenger. So I'll go to Messenger right now. Then I'll try to open it for you. And then I can always update the live stream after, I guess. There we go. So we have a map. So let me see if I can shrink me down. There we go. Okay. Excellent. Excellent. So, as you can see here, here is the enhanced risk. Okay? Looks like Richmond, Virginia, most of North Carolina, most of it from here. Then you have South Carolina. Wow, even Myrtle Beach is impacted. That's not good. So Florence and Myrtle Beach, you guys got to be careful because this may be legitimate. If that's the case, I might try to get WPDE on if they are doing coverage. Because they do have a good meteorology. Back. Good. Okay, let's just take a look. Slight risk. Let's see if we can zoom in. Let me get you all an idea of what we are expecting, it looks like. Open image, a new tab. There might be a way to get this in a new tab. So let me see if I... You all an idea. Now this is how far, let me zoom in, okay. Okay. So, slight risk. Slight risk would be... Let me put me down for a second. That way you can see me and I can give you a narration. So slight risk would be most of Pennsylvania. Oh boy, look at this. Scranton's going to be impacted. So if you're in Scranton, you may want to watch WNEP television, which is the ABC affiliate over there, if possible. Again, you're in Delmarva. Don't even bother with the ABC affiliate. They stink. Baltimore has a decent ABC affiliate, I think. But I prefer the NBC, obviously. But marginal. Again, this is what concerns me. Marginal risk. That's not what I saw on a friend of mine's Facebook earlier. So let me just put me back for a second. I thought I was going to leave the air, but apparently now, thanks to Matt Camper, he was giving us very, very vital information. You know what? Facebook's not even going to load. Now, I'm going to send this for this time of the year. So, let me see if I can refresh my messenger. Oh, there we go. So I want Matt Camper to look at this picture very clearly. And I want you to look at this picture as well, because this is, once again, this could be very alarming. I have to show you this picture that I got from Pine Power LI. So he sent me this picture. I'm forwarding it to Matt right now. Let's see if I can open it with another app. Can I open it with Chrome? Look for another app. Yep, that's the problem. I don't want to open it from here. Hey, I got an idea. You know what I could do? I could put the picture on the screen. Let's see if I can do that. Yeah, I think OBS will let me do it. Hang on, hang on. Hang on. Hang on. Okay. Let's see. Nope. Working on it. Bingo. There's the picture. Let me see if I can move me down a little bit. Whoa, okay, we don't want that. Let's see if I can fix it. Okay, there we go. So, you can clearly see here, put the picture up very quickly. Try to narrate it. So, as you can see here, Look how alarming this is. Look how alarming this is. 82 mile per hour wind gust forecasted for Long Island. 82 mile per hour wind gust. You are seeing it right there. Right there. See it? Right there. Right there. You see how alarming this is, folks? 82 mile per hour wind gust. See how alarming this is? I'd be concerned if I were you. We could see power outages tomorrow. We could see downed trees. We could maybe even see an isolated tornado for all we know. I've been through a tornado. It is not a good experience. I've been through one. I thankfully did not lose power, but it was the worst 24 hours of my life. It was right here in Queens. I even remembered going by Christina Park with my dad. With my mom and dad. My mom had to go to work. We were on 164th Street, and a big tree was blocking the road. Trust me, it's not a good experience to go through a tornado. I've been through one. It's holy hell. Trust me. Alright? So I think with that, now I'll end the stream. So thank you all for watching.